In this video, I'm going to be talking about the big differences between what I call the big three in types of truck driving. And that's going to be dry box, refrigerated or reefer, and open deck trucking or flatbed or step deck. So if you're curious, stick around. So just to give you a little bit of background of me and what I do, I've been a truck driver since May of 2012. So at the point of this video, we're approaching 8.5 years. And in that time, I started my career as a refrigerated driver. I was on a dedicated account. I ran a little bit of kind of generic freight from meat to produce, etc. But I actually got onto a dedicated account and I ran blood plasma. And I did that for a little over 5 years. I did a little bit of dry box as well. When you're running a reefer, that's one of the kind of the benefits of having a reefer is that you also get to run dry van. And it's, you know, it's very, very similar, but there are definitely some key differences that I'll cover in the video. But then I moved on from refrigerated trucking, and now I went into actually flatbed, and now I pull a step deck. And for me personally, for what I enjoy, for what I like to do, my personality and how I like to drive, for me, open deck trucking is definitely the way to go, but it's certainly not for everybody. And there are definitely some big differences between the big three, and let's go ahead and dive right in. We're gonna start with, you know, kind of the big one, which is gonna be dry box. And dry box, or just kind of regular dry van, that's gonna be what most people are hauling. And when I say most, it's just because there's more general freight out there that's not refrigerated or that does not go on an open platform. And therefore, there's gonna be more dry box trailers out there than anything else. And so what that means for you as a dry van truck driver is that your deadhead is gonna be a lot lower. And so if you're hiring onto a company that they don't pay deadhead miles, well, you may wanna look more at that dry van, because you're not gonna be deadheading all over the place. If you are, that kind of begs the question, what's going on with dispatch? If you're running actual dedicated accounts, well, that could result in a little bit higher deadhead, so keep that in mind. But dry box, for the most part, you're gonna kind of be running mainly sunlight hours. It's not gonna happen all of the time, but generally you're gonna be running daylight hours. Your appointments are going to vary, and they can range from the morning time all the way to late at night. So yes, you are gonna be running some of that night driving, but there's not gonna be a lot of physical labor involved. So dry van is very generic. Most of the time, you're gonna be running what's called truckload, and that means that whenever you get loaded, your truck is gonna go from point A to point B, and you're gonna unload everything at point B. That's not to say that they don't have LTL for dry van, because that's certainly out there as well, but we're talking in generalities here, and in general, you're gonna be running truckload. So dry box, like I said, very generic. You're gonna get a lot of miles, and so that's something to consider. You're going to be on the road for long, extended periods of time. A lot of, especially if you're company driver, a lot of your loads are probably gonna be at least 2-day loads. You're gonna be doing a lot of miles and putting a lot down. We're gonna move into refrigerated truck driving, and it coincides kind of closely with dry box. The differences with refrigerated, though, is you're gonna be doing a lot more LTL runs, and that means that you're gonna have multi-stops on your deliveries. And so what that means is that your miles are probably, okay, talking in generalities here, probably going to be cut down a little bit, but it's not going to necessarily affect your pay greatly, because you also get what's called stop pay. So if you're a company driver, dry box and reefer are gonna be very similar as far as the money to be made. With those multi-stop loads also comes insane appointment hours. And that's because a lot of times you're gonna be delivering to like cold storage, and these places have a lot of traffic in and out, and it takes longer to unload, to break down, to count, generally, these refrigerated loads. So a lot of times you're gonna have appointments that are gonna be all over the place. I'm talking from midnight to 6 in the morning to 6 at night. So your hours are gonna vary greatly in refrigerated. You probably are going to make a little bit more money than you would pulling a box, so that's something to keep in mind. But if you're not good, or you know that you may not necessarily have the best vision, or you don't have great night vision, you may want to stay away from the refrigerated side of things, because you are definitely going to be driving at night. And then also you have the added I guess work of keeping an eye on the reefer unit. That's going to be extremely important, especially if you're pulling kind of high value loads. You're going to have that little bit of extra work and time put into getting the washouts. You're going to need more washouts whenever you're a reefer. You're also going to have to keep an eye, on that temperature and make sure that it's within a range, because that's how the loads work. So, you're going to be adding to your workload, but that little bit of extra pay is going to compensate you for that. And before we get into the open platform side of things, I just want to take a moment to thank Trucker Tools for sponsoring this video. I've been working with Trucker Tools for a very long time now, and that's because I fully believe in the company. They have one of the best apps for truck drivers, bar none. They've got something for everybody, whether you're a company driver or an owner operator or a carrier. They've got a load board now that has, they're increasing the brokers and loads that are being posted on it daily, and they have a great book it now feature, so you can book that load instantly without having to worry about, are you gonna make it there in time to catch that load? Also, they'll tell you where all of the truck stops are, and they're working with increasing the knowledge that you're gonna get from looking at all these different truck stops about the parking knowledge. So that's something that they're working on, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the results of that. But if you haven't downloaded Trucker Tools, check out the link in the description box down below. I highly recommend it. And once again, thank you for sponsoring this video. Moving into the open deck side of things, and keep in mind, I might be a little bit biased because it's what I love to do. So just keep that in mind. But as an open deck guy, and when I say open deck, that means flatbed or step deck. RGN could be in that, I guess, but really RGN is more heavy haul or more specialized. So I'm gonna leave that out. But flatbed and step deck. So when you're a flatbed or step deck driver, you're pretty much always driving them daylight hours, which no complaints here. Whenever I ran reefer, I ran team, and I preferred being the night driver. However, now that I've been running open deck for a little over 3 years now, I much prefer the daylight hours. And I don't know why, I don't know what it is, because you get more traffic, at night, it's more wide open. It is a little bit harder to see. So I don't know, maybe as I age and getting older, maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's easy for me to see during the day. But anyway, open platform, you're gonna be mostly day driving. However, there's gonna be a lot more labor, and actually we're gonna call it labor involved, not just work. I consider checking on the reefer work. I consider tying down a load and tarping a load labor. And there have been many times when I've been in 110 degree plus heat and nearly passed out. You gotta make sure that you stay hydrated and well fed. You have those daylight hours that you're gonna be running a lot. And then also, when you're open platform, you're generally not gonna be running as many miles. On the open deck side of things, the most money to be made is almost always in the 1 day hops. So anywhere from about 300 miles to even all the way up to 600 miles, you're gonna be making the most money. On the owner operator side of things, and kind of looking at the industry as a whole from the carrier's perspective, they want you running those 1 day hops because they pay the most, but that involves a ton of work. When I first started open deck trucking at Mercer Transportation, whew, that's what I was doing a lot. I was doing 1 day hops, and I was working my tail off, but I also made really good money when I was there, and especially being new and being a new owner operator, I did really well for my first year. But you know, now I'm with Landstar, and now I've gotten, you know, gotten a little bit lazier. I like to do about a 2-day run, you know, and it maybe even a 3 or 4 if I can find a really good pay and load that goes long distance. But those are I'm not gonna say they're few and far between, but definitely you're way heavily weighted towards 1-day hops. So lots and lots and lots of labor, but I enjoy that. I enjoy working. I enjoy building up a sweat. I enjoy trying to stay in some kind of shape that's not round. So that's one of the benefits certainly to open deck trucking. But you know, those are gonna be the biggest differences between the three. And I hope that if you're considering coming into the industry as a new truck driver, that you'll really think about these things and kind of know yourself and know what you're capable of. Because if you come in and you choose the wrong, you know, type of trucking to do, you're probably gonna get out of it really quickly. And it's a very rewarding career, you know, if you treat it right. But also, I hope you got some value out of this video if you're doing some other type of trucking and you're thinking about changing. If you did, then do me a favor, hit that like button, click the subscribe button, ring the notification bell so you know when my videos are coming out. Do me a favor and check out one of these videos right over here. YouTube's great about recommending something that you might want to watch, so check that out. I promise you, it's good stuff. But as always, stay driven.